Oil and gas major Woodside has reported a 40% jump in its first half profits. Net profit after tax came in at $1 billion. Profits beat expectations, but Woodside disappointed investors slightly by delaying expansion of its Pluto operations until 2011. For more on the company's performance, I spoke to Woodside's CEO, Don Voelte. Don Voelte, welcome to Late Line Business.
Hi, Tiki.
Well, the market was very pleased with the results, above expectations, but that was largely due to oil and gas prices, wasn't it? Because your production was a little down.
Well, that's partially right. Commodities were a bit better than this period last year, but we've made several improvements in our base operations, not only in our Australian oil facilities, but also Northwest Shelf. We just recently just ticked off a record for the amount of volumes we brought out of there. Plus, we're getting better prices through negotiation of things like domestic gas and some of the renegotiations. So it's a good effort, and basically our cost basis remains low compared to our competitors. So we're pretty darn pleased with our results.
You've had a bit of strike action in the Northwest. Is that very much in hand, or are you expecting more?
Yeah, I was just talking to our construction foreman up on site this morning actually, and you know, the folks are working hard up there. We have many different contractors up there. We have 4,000 people on site right now. Every bed is full, and right now things are just fine. I think the underlying issues that are sometimes prompted up there on industrial relation issues are sometimes not well understood. We've had you know, the folks that are actually working in that company that of question actually wanted to stay on site. They wanted to continue their project. They wanted to finish the project for us. We've got all the heavy lifts made, and I would just say that we really appreciate the efforts that they've went to.
The other news today was the delay in your expansion of Pluto. What's behind that?
Well, we had always set a target, I guess you'd say, at the end of 2000. It was self-imposed. Nobody put the target on us except for ourselves. And we set it for two reasons. Number one is we're competing for resources up here in the northwest of Australia versus the other projects. And the other project is Gorgon. We had anticipated where Gorgon would be at their construction, and we had said about a year and a half ago, well, if we can get the FID by the end of 2010, we'll be okay. We'll be able to sneak it in, I guess you'd say, or build 2 and 3 before Gorgon gets into the same skill sets. Also, we thought we'd be further along in our exploration program. We have 2 deep water rigs. One was a year late coming.
So even though you've got Chevron racing you off to get gas to market, and even though you've got last week's discoveries at the Alaric 1 and Larsen wells, you're still looking at a delay?
Well, the other factor that has crawled into this now is that people realize that Woodside's pretty good at building LNG plants. There's other people with gas out there that have come to us and asked us to process their gas for them. We want to make sure we do the right thing for our shareholders, and so we want more time to evaluate, should we process other people's gas, as we call other resource owners, or take our own gas, and which ones do we do first, and how do we mix that?
We can't get away from politics this week. The East Timorese Economic Development Minister warned this week that an asylum seeker centre that the Labour government would like comes with strings attached, namely an onshore platform for the Sunrise gas project.
Well, there's not much I can say about that. We have followed all of the prescribed conditions to get to the best economic, the best under good oil field practices. So we followed all what you might call prescriptions that the governments of Timor-Leste and Australia have set out for us under the treaties that we have to follow. We think we had the right answer. We know it maximizes the value back to East Timor, or Timor-Leste, and it also maximizes the value to Australia, and actually is a good return for our shareholders.
But what if politics takes you over? Because Bob Brown has said that an onshore processing facility will be compulsory. Now, if the Greens have the balance of power, what then happens to the Sunrise project?
Well, we have 8 different trains that we're looking at, 4 at Pluto expansion. We have 3 at Browse. We have 1 at Sunrise. So for Woodside, it's a selection opportunity for us as well as our partners. Bob Brown and the Greens, their knowledge of our business and their stipulations that they're putting on, well, I guess we'll just have to go talk and talk to them about the reality of business life and who's putting the $11 billion into the project. I don't think it's the Greens Party. I think it's the Woodside and our partners. So I suspect we'll have a say-so in how it gets done. At the end of the day, we'll work with all parties. We have great relationships with the coalition government. With the Labor government, with the coalition opposition. We don't have as many conversations with the Greens, but we do recognize their position that's potential in the Senate, and we know who they are, and we'll get them up to date as to what the issues are and what the costs are and what the economic opportunities are. I think when he hears our story and what it'll do for Timor-Leste people, he'll figure out that it's the right thing to do.
And Don Voelte, what is your view on the coal seam gas exploration sector happening on the east side of Australia? There's a lot of investment. Do you think there's overinvestment?
Well, we're very happy with our West Australian gas. We have huge resources of gas at Northwest Shelf, at Pluto 1 and the expansion, as well as Browse, a huge resource, et cetera. The coal bed methane, we're satisfied at Woodside that we made the right choice. We could have entered into it previously, but we've seen the problems that are developing there. It's not just about finding gas, building gas. It's about what you have at the end economically. And we're quite satisfied with all the issues that are coming up with coal bed methane, that the economics of our Western Australia gas are superior to what they'll come up with over there.
Don Voelte, thank you very much for talking to Late Line Business.
Okay, thank you very much, Tiggy.